Hey guys, it's you once again, and of course, welcome back for the third review in Jean-Claude Van Damme movie reviews. And of course, now I'm gonna talk about his Kickboxer, which came out 1989. It actually came out right after Cyborg. Previously, after Bloodsport, Van Damme did Black Eagle, which I didn't review. I don't have that film and I don't care about that film. But then was Cyborg, and now I would just say call it his third movie. Even though he did No Retreat, No Surrender, which I don't care. That film isn't Van Damme film, and Black Eagle sucks. So, but yeah, Kickboxer, and I do have my own Blu-ray, and yes, this is actually completely different cover. This is handmade. It's not the original Blu-ray cover, but honestly, I enjoy this cover more. Yeah. So I'll just say the story about White Warrior, Naksukao. So Kickboxer tells the story about White Warrior, which stars Jean-Claude Van Damme, Rochelle Ashana, Michelle Gissi, Dennis Chen, and of course Dennis Alexio. Bring me Tong Po, and yeah, that's actually back. Bring me Tong Po. Directed by Mark Diselle and of course David Ward. David Ward was a co-producer, and I don't know what happened to Mark Diselle, but he also directed The Perfect Weapon. He was also the coach in that movie, and Mark Diselle was a really great director. He's also one of the US reporters in this movie, and he was also that boxer in Bloodsport when he asked Jackson, "I really go to Hong Kong to full contact?" He said, "Yeah, need more scars. I heard that you can get killed only if you fuck up." I love that in Bloodsport. And this movie, he's also one of the U.S. reporters talked to Eric Sloan. And the story talks about Eric Sloan, world kickboxing champion, played by Dennis Alexio. He was a real cruiserweight, a real kickboxer champion until he got the role. And Van Damme plays Kurt Sloan, the brother of Eric Sloan. The Sloan brothers, they decide to travel to Thailand, in which Eric Sloan challenges the Thailand champion Tong Po in order to in order to prove that he is the best of the best. And right after the brothers show up in Bangkok to compete in the tournament, Eric Sloan against Tong Po. Of course, Kurt has a bad feeling that something bad's gonna happen, while Eric, he only wants to fight and he wants to prove that he's best of the best. But that's what actually was kinda. But that's actually kind of wrong, because Kurt was a witness how Tong Po, Eric's opponent, was like kicking with his leg, with his knee in the wall. Like the temperature was falling down the wall. And he tells him that. And of course, Eric doesn't believe him and says to him, "Be my corner, get the fuck home." So they go in the tournament, in the ring, and Tong Po with illegal hits, elbow and with knees, disables Eric, and the ends he paralyzed his back for good. Even tough. Van Damme throws the towel, but Tong Po kicks the towel away and hits him in the back and paralyzes his back. And Van Damme gets pissed and says, asshole, can't do that." And Tong Po kicks him, and Van Damme lands on Winston Taylor, played by Haskell V. Anderson III. And and says, and I know when Kurt says, "Get me to the hospital, there are two more fights," and they take Eric outside, and now of course Kurt tries to find the taxi that will drive them to the hospital, but Mr. Taylor decides to help the young kid, so they go to hospital, and of course they find out that Eric is paralyzed, and his recovery is going to be for 3 months, and he's paralyzed. And now Kurt Sloan wants to revenge, but in order to get revenge, he has to be good enough, because Winston Taylor says, "You're not good enough, Only he's too violent them. Only you can get them is inside the ring. And you, like I said, you are not good enough." And I love that. We'll see. I love that. I love Van Damme's lines. We'll see. Love Van Damme's lines, We'll see. Love his lines, Van Damme is great in this movie. So anyway, so Kurt goes to those Muay Thai schools because he wants to learn Muay Thai and he wants to challenge Tong Fu for a fight. But no one takes it serious. The students are making fun of him. They're laughing at him. Then Mr. Taylor decides to help him out, and he knows one guy out of the city, and that guy is a motherfucker crazy, and he's the only one crazy enough to train you and to put you in the ring with Tong Po. And to make the deal, of course, Winston brings to a club, with to a nightclub. Kurt and he decide they drink and they know each other, and then next day he drives them to Xian Chow, played by Dennis Chen, which is out of the city. And at first, I love the lines that says, I have some business, don't provoke him. I love that, don't provoke him. Van Damme steps in the trap and turns around, and then like Dennis Chen shows up and says, "May I help you?" "Yeah, I want to get down." "Yeah, put me down." "No. Okay, now, why not? Because I don't know. Because I know who you are. What do you want? I want down, and I wanted to train me Muay Thai." And yeah, of course, and we forgot the lines. What they already talk about, I want to train Muay Thai. Really, really, a lot. I forgot that. Like I heard about American champion, where he lost badly. That was my brother, and now he cannot walk. I love that. When he puts it down. I don't remember the whole lines. I'm sorry, not perfect. But he puts down Van Damme and he tells him, maybe next year. "No, I must train now." "Why?" "My brother, remember?" I love that. "Maybe next year." "No, I must train now." "Why?" "My brother, remember?" I love that, So Xian sends him into the village and tells him, bring me groceries, for my stomach. Never make a decision on empty stomach. So he goes to the village, and so he goes to this village, and these guys, he meets niece from Xian, Mai Li, played by Rochelle Ashana, and she tells him that Xian does not teach anyone because too many people came. He doesn't teach anyone. He wants to live alone, and of course. Kurt tells her the story about his brother, that he was wounded by Tong Po. That's the reason why he wants that her uncle teaches him the art, the Asian style of Muay Thai. And these goons from Freddie Lee, Tong Po is under Freddie Lee's protection. He works for Freddie Lee, and he clogs the opponents to shit down, and these two guys shows up, and they start taking Miley's money, and she says it's alright, and Van Damme says, "No, it's not alright, don't take this money," and he goes like a badass and kicks both the guys. He kicks both the guys' ass, like a badass, kicks both the guys' ass, and Miley says, "That was foolish," and she throws and stuff, and that goes back. What should I let to take your money? Yes. I love that. And she goes away, and so he goes to Xian back, and Xian tells him, didn't bring me and everything, and he says, yeah. And Winston asked him, are you going with me? And he said, no, and Xian, no, we had a lot to talk about. And then the start, the fights, then Kurt starts training, on the Asian way. He goes to training, and I love the training montage. Then, of course, Xian and Kurt, they go into Stone City, which is actually the Asian town, old town of which warriors, from the east, they actually fought each other, and Van Damme can hear his screams while he's training there, in the Stone City, that scene is kind of the Stone City, that's Winston Taylor. The Stone City, and he prepares for the battle, and the training sequences were really great, excellent, and also Kurt also visits his brother in the hospital, and of course, while training, Xian brings him in this town, in the bar, in this bar. Van Damme is dancing, he's drunk dancing, and like a few fighters shows up, and Van Damme kicks all of them, like he makes that spin kick in the stomach, and the guy with the table, he breaks the fucking table, kicks everyone, and Freddie Lee and of course Xian organizes a fight with Freddie Lee in a deal, so Kurt goes now with Xian in the ring and finds his first opponent, and like and like Winston Taylor says, months later, kick the motherfucker's ass, and Van Damme goes and the guy kicks his ass, the first opponent kicks ass and says, bring me Tong Po, give me Tong Po! Oh my god, and Freddie Lee like, and the training sequence shows up, and Kurt trains now more, and of course Eric now shows up from the hospital while Xian prepares Kurt for the fight of his life, for the months of training, which Kurt is in the best shape of his life, and he gets the news that Kurt Sloan and Tong Po are gonna fight in an old underground tomb on an Asian way, which is an old Asian way with a broken glass, with a broken glass on the fingers, and of course Eric says bullshit, and Kurt goes to prepare for the fight, and also like in the eagle, he can hear the eagle and the old warriors, which is a badass, and of course then Eric is being kidnapped, because Freddie Lee makes it with the boss, he borrows $1 million and bet on Tong Po for $1 million, and of course they go and kidnap Eric. They also throw the one of the thugs throws the knife in the dog. I did not like that, but I didn't took that as a realistic. But I'm glad the dog was alright, and Van Damme asks Winston to help him out, but the guy says, no, I have to drive, says, go ahead, be chicken shit all your life, like I said before, I don't need your help, and I love that, and of course Eric is pissed, Kurt is pissed, and he goes now preparing the tomb, and of course, for the fight of his life, and of course he also falls in love with Mai Li, and Mai Li gets raped by Kurt, because Freddie Lee and his goons, they want to make sure that he's not gonna win, and that's what they actually kind of fucked up, because Xian with Winston, Winston is actually a Vietnam vet, but he's also a gun smuggler. He smuggles guns. They go to the hideout, and Xian, like a badass he is, kicks all Freddy's goons. And Winston goes with the rifle M16, blows the bad guys to pieces, and blows with a grenade launcher. And Xian says, "You're late." Yeah, there is a traffic. There's a big fight in town. You should love that. Winston, like a pure badass, kicks the guys in the head. And of course, this guy who hurt the dog, Xian, like a badass he is, jumps, grabs that hook and stabs the guy in the fucking ass, says that's not real, and now kick it even too, and I love that, that he avenged his dog. I love that, And Tugpo and Eric, Kurt are now fighting each other. Tugpo kicks and beats, and he goes and kicks and beats, he goes and kicks and beats the guys to face, Kurt's face by the final round, of course. Eric shows up, and says, "Natsuko, come on, get it, Kurt, Natsuko, 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 what the fuck that means? White warrior, Natsuko, and of course, when that goes to Mylene, ask her if she could cut the stuff down, and of course she does, and like a pure badass, when them goes and kicks Tugpo's ass, that scene, he goes and kicks his ass like a pure badass he is. He goes and kicks his ass, And at the end, he kicks ass. He goes also kicks Freddy in the face, And the movie ends with a beautiful song, "Never Surrender," played song by Stan Bush. Yes, I love Kickboxer. As a kid, I watched the Kickboxer non-stop. In elementary school, I grew up with this film. I watched it in the school. Lots of times, in elementary school, I watched it. Kickboxer, I really do think is a classic. I think by many consider this Van Damme's best film. I agree. My top 3 favorite films so far, there's still going to be Bloodsport and Cyborg. And the first one, I can't mention it because I'm still not came into review that, But like I said, no one watches my videos except some guy who hates me, But it gives me dislike. But there were actually I think the movie is 1 hour and 43 minutes long, because there are actually they were actually I used to saw the director's cut this film. There is a scene in which Van Damme visits his brother Eric, and Eric. And we see another patient that lies beside in the room with Eric, and Eric is pissed, and he also back and ask Kurt to avenge him, and Kurt promises he's gonna avenge him, that scene was deleted on Blu-ray. I used to have that scene. I don't have it anymore. I watched it to major step, and the final scene, the fight was actually so eaten that I couldn't even saw the picture anymore. Also, the lines, the dialogues, were actually great. I'm the best shape in my life. I'm gonna win this fight for you and me. I love that, Great line, great dialogue where Bruce did a great screenplay, great dialogue where all the fight scenes that you saw in this movie were actually choreographed and directed by Jean-Claude Van Damme himself. Sun On Taek was also Sun On Taek, the actor, was actually opponent of Tong Po. He was later, he played a bad guy demon in Bloodsport 2 1996. And I love the movie. That is beautiful. The fight scenes are great. When Damme kicks ass, when Damme uses a spin kick, or he also uses jump kick in the fucking head, or he uses all those scenes, That's Winston, that's Miley, that's Eric, Miley in this film. Tong Po, and of course Van Damme, Kurt Sloan. Yeah, it's just beautiful. This is actually the Stone City. Just this movie is just beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. As a classic, is definitely one of the best films I saw as a kid. This movie made more money than Cyborg. The budget was actually $150 million, which is actually $1,050,000, which is actually written on IMDb. But on Wikipedia, when I checked, it said that $2.7 million is actually the budget, and worldwide made $50 million. The music composer was Paul Herzog from Bloodsport, and he was a music composer. And I also said Bush did Never Surrender and Fight for Love, which I love. Never Surrender is my favorite of the film, then Streets of Siam. And of course, there were actually two directors, Mark Dissal and David Ward. I don't know if I mentioned it, but Mark Dissal was the U.S. reporter when he talked to Eric Sloan and says about Thailand. I heard they invented there the best of the best, And that's one of the reasons it was that reporter with the beard, that was Mark Dissale, and he was also the coach in The Perfect Weapon, and he was also one of the boxers in Bloodsport, asking Ray Jackson to really go to Hong Kong, So that was awesome. The training sequence. This movie is a revenge movie. It's like Karate Kid and Rocky 4. The whole movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme just trains and prepares for the fight. So it kind of is like Rocky 4, and it is kind of the Karate Kid. He trains. He trains for months to prepare for the fight of his life. To avenge his brother, and of course it was also a honor. They actually fought on the old way, in the ancient way, with broken glass. That was kind of honorable. So this movie does have a heart. It's actually a revenge story, but the movie does have a heart. It has a heart. It has a few action scenes, like a great fight scenes. And it's not a bloody film. It still is some few blood in it. But Kickboxer is just one of Van Damme's definitely best films. I love this film. Which I forgot to mention, there are actually 7 Kickboxer films. After this film, there were 4 sequels, which I'll say. Kickboxer 2, The Road Back, plays by Sasha Mitchell, in which Kurt Sloan and Eric Sloan are dead. And in this movie, he was never mentioned. And I forgot to mention, but Van Damme also mentions that he lives in Los Angeles, but he was born in Belgium. That's the story of Van Damme. He was born in Belgium, but he moved to LA, And Van Damme, and this movie was never mentioned at a third brother, never was. And in the sequel, when Kurt Sloan and Eric Sloan are dead, while the third brother is in LA, which just kind of makes no sense. He was never mentioned. So there was no need. I feel that this movie is a stand-up alone. I don't think there are actually sequels at all. And it's like Kickboxer 2, 3, and 4 are actually about about the third brother played by Sasha Mitchell, which is kind of weird and awkward. That movie has nothing to do with the first 2 movies. Like David Sloan goes to Argentina and fights this guy, this another champion, and he meets it's just nothing new. I hated that film. It was just terrible. I used to have a VHS tape. I hated it. I don't have the film. Kickboxer 4 is the only one that I actually do like, because the aggressor, even though Michel Gissi does not return, but he does return in the sequel, and Dennis Chan also returns in both the sequels, Kickboxer 2 and 3, who plays Xian Chao. But in the 4th movie, at least we see flashbacks with Van Damme and Dennis Alexio, and I also do enjoy that, because I love the tournament. I love that there actually kind of feels like a blood sport, and I know, and like the fighters are fighting for $1 million, and I just love that they use different styles. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I like Kickboxer 4, why I always enjoy that film. Many hated it, I didn't. Kickboxer 5 sucked, in which they go and kill off David Sloan. I hated it. Kickboxer 5 with Mark Dacascos. It's just the sequels, just they don't top this film. I feel this is a stand-up alone. There was no need of sequels. They wanted Van Damme to go back to the sequel, but Van Damme did not want to go. He rather do Double Impact instead, Kickboxer 2, And so there was a rebooted. There was Kickboxer, I think was Vengeance, which I hated it, which is a reboot of this film. But now in the reboot, Eric Sloan is dead. Tong Po kills Eric Sloan, and on the end, on a fake CGI, Kurt Sloan goes and kills Tong Po in the fight. I hated it. I hated the film. The next sequel, Kickboxer Redemption, it was god awful. Yeah, Van Damme was in it. He played Master Duran. Sorry, but he sucked in that movie. I hated it. Both the reboots, So yeah, so there were like now seven Kickboxers, which was not needed. The Redemption was disgrace because he was like his opponent goes and kills. It fucking kills Kurt Sloan, but the guy, but he drinks like a potion and he goes back from death to live it, which I hate it, make no sense. The last two Kickboxer movies are just so god awful. The worst Van Damme movies he ever did, And there was no needed. So in my opinion, this movie is a stand-up alone from Canon Group, was not needed. Of course, this is produced by Mark Dissal, Charles Wang, martial arts choreography, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Glenn Bruce screenplay, and Mark Dissal and David Ward directed. I'll say more Mark Dissal directed. David Ward was more co-director for this film. But the movie is actually beautiful. In another mystical movie, just like Bloodsport, it's more mystical. Just like I said, Bloodsport is my favorite film, Cyborg, I feel, is underrated. It's one of my favorite Van Damme films, But Kickboxer, I love this film. That's actually Noxukao. Yeah, that's actually my review on the best scenes of kickboxing fights inside of Rocky movie. Writing up here, see. But that's my movie review on Van Damme's film Kickboxer. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. And the next review that I'm gonna do is going to be Death Warrant. So stay tuned for Death Warrant, which is probably gonna be soon uploaded on my channel. Take care. I'm out. Peace.